So that works.
Yeah, I just want to mention something, because I think Alice is being very careful not to be, we're not going to be partisan here. But Alice is really involved in trying to get people to vote and making sure people are informed. And that also takes up a little bit of time. And I do a little bit of that myself. But, getting people out to vote is also a part of organizing and doing something. So.
Yeah. Yeah. But so anyway, but as you talk to people, oh, hey, I'm interested in volunteering. Well, hey, the food bank needs volunteers. Why don't you go volunteer at the food bank? My friend volunteers at the food bank. So you're kind of informally recruiting people. One of my friends loves writing postcards for things, but only if the postcards are free. I have tried to refer her to postcard programs where she pays for her own postcards, no dice. So every time I see the postcards, she pays for stamps though. So every time I see the free postcard programs pop up, I'm like, hey, Lori, here you go. Time to sign up again for the free postcard program. And she'll do it. Let's see. Okay. So as your knowledge of the, base of the subjects increases, you're going to refer people to additional programs. People might reach out to you for information. Let's see, one of my friend's daughters, she was volunteering for an elected official, and I was talking to her the other week, and she was like, oh, my daughter would love to do more. I said, Sophie, there's a gala going on. Let me find the information. I'm not going, but I can send it to you for her. And she said, sure, okay, great. And Sophie gets to go now and do this. So you're going to be pulling in more information and directing people to like other resources that maybe you don't even know about. Let's see. So yeah, we can go to the next slide. Yeah. Okay. So mental health. I'm going to pull this in a little bit here. We're ready. We're up to D.
No, we're at C.
No, I'm moving to D. We're going to flip back. I'm almost done. Okay. Wait.
D.
Okay. D. Yeah. There we go. So are we familiar with external versus internal locus of control, that idea?
Explain it. Just go ahead.
I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm going to explain. Okay, so internal locus of control refers to feeling like one has a greater sense of control over your life. External locus of control, you feel like outside forces are more controlling to you and you have less input. It's a continuum.
Social worker.
Yeah, it's been a few years. So anyway, let's see. So it's a continuum. Volunteering can frequently increase your internal locus of control, which is linked to positive mental health outcomes. Especially it's relevant towards folks of higher income global north populations, which most people generally are. So what are some, okay, so hold on. This is, I'm trying to wrap it up, Kim.
No, seriously, take your time.
Okay. So basically, when we do things like volunteering in roles that make us happy, it's going to help us to feel better. Like volunteering at the school store, it helps make me feel happy. I love seeing the kids and being around them. Let's see, people sometimes feel better when they are with like-minded folks at a protest. That's why you see a lot of people at like the No Kings protest right now. What are some volunteering roles that we have that make us happy?
You're asking.
I'm asking, Tom.
I've been an organizer with the PSL since 2021, and because of the nature of that organization, because of its direction towards using mutual aid as a means of bringing about dual power, I think that it's very like refreshing, and it just working with a lot of people rather than just like seeing charity as an individual effort, instead of seeing it as something that you have to be some kind of Superman and do by yourself. Really, like, it breaks the alienation inside. It takes that idea that like, oh, this is all really unachievable, and like it takes that David and Goliath situation and really brings Goliath down to the side of man.
Can you describe that even further? Like what it actually looks like? Like what specifically have you done and are doing, so we have a better idea of that? Because that is what you're talking about, and I find this with a lot of organizations I'm in. It's a different language. and, you know, that you start using around it. And not everyone understands that language. And so it's really helpful to hear more, like if you could describe exactly what, it's an example.
And if you could tell us what PCL is.
I will explain what the PSL is. I'm really excited to, you know, one day at length, but I want to start with a parable. That was a parable that Mao Zedong used to tell, but it's really like, it's very good. I think it's a good parable. So the parable goes that it's the parable of the foolish old man. There's a foolish old man with a shovel, and he's like smacking a bunch of rocks with it. And he's just like, I'm gonna move this mountain. You know, he's smacking a bunch of rocks, and like a man comes by, he says, hey, this is my land. Why are you hitting this mountain with a shovel? And he said, I'm gonna move this mountain. And then like a very rich man comes by, he's like, this guy's an idiot. He's not gonna move those mountains. But God was so inspired by the old man trying to move these mountains that God moved the mountains. Now, in this scenario, the people walking by calling the old man an idiot, that's the media, that's the news, that's our politicians that try to swindle us, right? Now, the foolish old man, that's us. That's the organizers. That's us feeling like we can't do something that is unachievable, but God is the people. The people will see your efforts and they'll see a reason and they will participate. When I started with the PSL, one of the projects we were working on was like housing work in Blue Island, because it was one of the places where people were getting evicted a lot by like really greedy landlords. And this was at the height of the pandemic. A lot of people didn't have jobs and the eviction moratorium had just ended. And so in the PSL, we said, okay, these people, they have rights. You know, they're not just tenants. They can't just, they don't just have to go because their landlord stuck a sign on the door. They have rights. You know, so we started posting these rights all over Blue Island, like on flyers. Said like, you cannot be evicted and you have to wait for the sheriff to come in Cook County. He has to evict you with his men, you know. And people started just staying in their homes, you know, and we went to like coffee shops, laundromats, which are like the best place to do outreach, by the way. If you're gonna do outreach, laundromats are like the place.
Makes sense, yeah.
But yeah, so by the end of our work, the people had so organized themselves around these rights, like people just became concerned about these things and they started acting on their own. But the PSL gave them the why. Like, why is this happening to you? It's not just like, we're going to provide you with a service, we're going to give you money, we're going to like give you food, all this stuff, which is good. But it's like, why are you in this situation? You're in this situation because these landlords are greedy. They want to raise the rent to make more money. They don't care if you get pushed out or not. So we gave them the why, you know? And so by the end of it, Tom Dart got so sick of sending his guys down to Blue Island that evictions basically just stopped. Because the police were so sick of going down and trying to evict people because the landlords never got it right. And the people stood their ground 10 toes down because they knew their right.
Yeah.
You know, if you give people the ability to fight for themselves in these situations, if you give them the political analysis to like target these systemic problems that affect people, they will move on their own. They will do the activism work by themselves. One of the worst things we can do as organizers is see ourselves above the people. No, we are the people.
Yeah.
They are us and we are them. To make that separation is what kills every single activist organization, every single activist movement, is seeing themselves as intellectually or ability-wise above the people. You know, and so for me, that's like the biggest analysis in social organizing, is that when people feel a political analysis, when you give them the why, they will move.
Tom, can you tell us what PSL stands for, those three letters?
Yeah, it's the Party for Socialism and Liberation. If you,
Okay.
Thank you.
if you wanted to join, it's pslweb.org. We have regular membership, but we also have like an easier to manage form of membership called the Action Network, where you don't have to have all the responsibilities of like full membership in the PSL, where you can still participate. And you'll still be given information about stuff, but you're not expected to go like above and beyond like a full member, you know?
Yeah, I see your group at protests all the time. You have a great turnout, a lot of young people.
Mhm.
It's pretty inspiring. All right, thank you. That was really helpful.
Yeah. And inspiring.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I'm good. You want to hit the last slide?
Oh, sure.
And then I'll let you take over?
Sure.
Okay, So this one turned up a couple years ago, and I've kind of just held it in the back of my mind these past few years, now that it's unfortunately relevant again. So when we see this says parable of the choir, a choir can sing a beautiful note and possibly long, because singers can individually drop out to breathe as necessary, and the note goes on. Social justice activism should be like that. So when we look at this, what we're going to talk about basically just, and then I'll let Kim take over, self-care is critical during this time. And it's, you know, take your time, don't burn out with whatever you're doing. You know, there's so much going on. Everyone has things that they do to relax and kick back. And if it's watching garbage reality TV shows, like some of us are guilty of that. What I know. My cousin-in-law translates Dan's wife. She's fluent in Spanish. She's accompanied people to court during this time, and it's really, really stressful. So her trick is she goes and bird watches and just totally unplugs hours at a time. You know, she leaves her husband at home. She goes off by herself to like some local forest preserve. So many bird pictures. The woman is obsessed with birds now, but like she needs something that's not always so high pressure and high tense and things like that. So at this point, you know, while we need to be pushing back against what concerns us, helping out with what we can, we also need to stop and go do our bird watching, eating way too much Girl Scout cookies, like whatever it is that we need to do. So we also have to keep that in mind as well. And I'm going to pass it over to Kim now.
I love that analogy.
Eat
The
Girl
parable
Scout
of the-
cookies? Oh.
Well, that too, the parable of the choir, though, that's really good. But also, I just want to reiterate what you were saying, Alice, that, you know, everyone can play a part, and don't minimize it. You don't have to do what Alice is doing. You don't have to do what I'm doing, or Tom, or Joyce, or Helen, or whoever is in this room. You find what it is you are comfortable doing, because you don't want to ever, unless you're comfortable putting yourself in an unsafe situation, you shouldn't have to do that. Do what you know you can do. And there's so many different things. And I think helping one another, this mutual aid, this helping with food pantries it is like critical. You know, taking care of basic human needs is critical of what we're called to love one another, to help one another. And so I want to go to what we are doing at St. Mark's, because to me, St. Mark's represents so much of what we are called to do about helping others. And I was, you know, reminded about, we have this wonderful Project Connect, which so the church can be the vehicle to find these communities, these organizations that you want to be a part of. We do a lot here. But we also work with other organizations where it makes sense. And so I'm gonna try to do something for people on Zoom. Okay, there it is, the escape, and go
It's also in the process of being updated right now, because it's constantly, you know, changing, but we've got a new one. And at the bottom it says 2026, so you might have a 20.
I have a
Just 2026.
2026.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And they're out there in the narthex.
Right.
But you can get it online too, and I love this graphic. Get involved. And so it just has a list, all the different things that we're doing, and this is how many pages? 14 pages. And it's just, it lists the things that we're doing and the people, the contact information. And so it's just so impressive when you think about it, because we kind of get in our silos and we forget about all the things that are going on here. It's rather exhaustive and wonderful. And let me get back. You can tell I'm not a tech person, because everything is so hard for me.
You know, Kim, and I just want to point out that, you know, we talk at church about time, talent, and treasure, and it's like the meals ministry. I'm able to be involved because I chip in a few bucks every month. I don't have Saturdays free to go and cook. No one should be forced to eat my cooking. I'm really sorry, Dawn. But like, so this is my way of helping. And, you know, so it's all these different things. It's not like you have to go there in person, but if you want to, you know, hey, I can do this, or hey, I can send that, that also works too.
And I just took a picture of what's at the top of the outreach, and Hester heads up the outreach committee, and she was here last night helping with the Jazz Night fundraiser, for Glen Ellyn Youth and Family Counseling Service. And so just all these different things that these organizations that we're working with, we're raising money for. We raised $6,000 last night, for Glen Ellyn Youth and Family Counseling Service. I mean, it is, the pumpkin patch over the years, how much? have we-
150,000.
150,000, you know, since,
DuPage, yeah.
yeah. When did we start? 2007?
Yep.
Yeah, is that just incredible? And so if you want, if this is something you want to do, you can get involved with PADS, you can
Just,
get
you know,
involved.
churches are doing this too, so this pumpkin patch idea has now provided more, I mean, it's like benefiting
Cool.
communities all around from, you know, well, Downers Grove is one place, but also Milwaukee and.
Isn't that great? It's so fun, and I love that time of year when you drive by in the fall and all the pumpkins are out. And we've had weddings where people have done their wedding pictures in the pumpkin patch. And you always see people doing their family pictures out there and stuff. But we have ASP, we've been doing that for years, the Mum Cell, the Glen House Food Pantry, there's an opportunity coming up. Hester, you want to just mention that with, the food bank, the,
Oh, the volunteering?
yeah.
So we're now volunteering as a St. Mark's group. Anybody that wants to join, we're gonna be volunteering every month now at
Oh.
the food bank in Geneva. So the
Is
next
it going to be on Saturdays, so?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Saturday morning, the next two, February 28th, March 28th, and then we're gonna do it monthly. It's been really well received.
Yeah, so if you can do that, or if you know, have neighbors or neighbors who have kids who want to do it, it's a,
Service hours,
Mhm.
great place to get service.
yeah, so, and just also to be community and this is all, I see, part of what we are talking about today. Holy Family Ministries, the Revive, the Christmas baskets that we put together, we've been doing that since,
Since forever.
forever. We've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
And it's just so amazing, and you might not get to see the recipients, I mean, you don't get to know them, but just imagine the impact that it's had over the years. And the Meals Ministry, this was, you know, started by David Dornblaser, you know, someone who has a lot of energy and a passion for organizing, and he has done, yesterday morning, it feels like so long ago. I think it was yesterday morning. It was, they provided meals, and I think he said they had 50 people here to pick up a meal. And some people pick up meals for neighbors who need it, who can't pick it up themselves. And he said they're asking for more, so they're gonna have to increase more and maybe do it more often. Lynn wasn't thrilled at that, but, but the need is there. And then the community dinner, and I haven't been able to make it to one. How many of you guys have gone to the community dinner? That in itself is such a beautiful idea, and bringing people together, and that is something, just being together.
Especially right now.
Especially right now.
Be with your neighbors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a community dinner, there's a nice picture of Lynn. This is all from our website. I was trying to figure out different ways to do it. I just did screenshots and then one of the other ones that I mentioned, you've seen in the bulletin recently, these, that we've done this for years because we've been a member of DuPage United for a really long time. DuPage United is an organization of organizations. It's a really hard thing for people to grasp, and I know that's true for myself. And we pay to be a member. So it's made up of all these different, they call them, this is where I get to the language, you know, just that it has its own language in this organization. And so it takes a while, it took me a really long time to kind of understand what they mean. When they say institutions, they mean churches, synagogues, mosques, teachers unions, other community organizations. They pay to be members, and they don't, DuPage United does not, they might get grants, but they don't take any government money because they don't want to be beholden to anyone. And then they listen to their institutions, their different groups, to find out what are the needs. And if you remember, we did listening sessions a little over a year ago to find out what people were worried about and what was concerning them. We did it at all the different services. And we did it again for the 1 o'clock service because things had changed. You know, we had a new administration. We had an administration that said that they were going to be targeting immigrants, and so that totally changed what the concerns were for that particular group, and we've been sharing that. I think DuPage United is trying to figure out what to do with that, but they try to listen then to all these different groups and find out what are the top concerns that are actionable. And one of the real successes that we've had here in Glen Ellen is the affordable housing that's being built on Roosevelt Road where the old hotel is. It took 5 years. But they had an event, they call it an assembly, that's their language, last week at First Congregational Church. And it was an opportunity to share the successes they have, talk about the other, things that they're working on right now. And they also almost always invite elected officials, and they try to get Democrats and Republicans there to hear what these are and see the numbers, to hear the number of people that are represented by the organization, which is a lot, because you think about all these different churches and synagogues and organizations and how many people they represent. And so we are the voice of DuPage County, and then hold these elected officials accountable. And it's been organizing like this has been going on for a really long time. It's very effective, but you have to be in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
So anyone who wants to get involved with that, we're always trying to get people who will be interested in helping with this. And it's not a clearly defined job. Miguel, am I capturing this?
Yeah, I think one reason that, good thing I hear from the representatives on the
Yeah.
is how they commit with the entire, the press county and the projects, the future projects and the future projects. So it's good to hear from Dave, like, the commitment made in the present. So just that one.
Yeah, thank you. And we're also just not DuPage County. It's the whole Chicagoland area. They each have, there's Lake County, there's Fox Valley Initiative, there's, what's the, one downtown too. I can't think of what its name is. But anyway, so if you're interested, let me know, because we are gonna have to be doing this type of work forever. It's just what we do. But I'm really proud of the fact that St. Mark's has been a really strong voice in this, especially for the housing project that's going up now. And that was the assembly last week. And kind of lastly, I'm just going to touch on, this is another thing that you're seeing a lot of organizing around, and we are having it done here at the church, is the Know Your Rights campaign. And if you go to the back table in the narthex, there are Know Your Rights cards, different forms. They're in English and Spanish. They are available in so many different languages through different sources. And you can actually go to, there is on the St. Mark's website, Know Your Rights page. And that came from a vigil we did in when was that vigil? Was it the summer? I think, I don't even remember. It feels like, I feel like this past year has been a decade or more. But we had a vigil, and it was the second vigil we've had around immigration. And we received all this material from the SSIP, the South Suburban Immigrant Project in DuPage County, in the southern part of the county. But they have brought speakers here in the past, and they have a lot of materials, and they work closely with the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. They're a part of that. And so we have a lot of materials on this page that you can look at. And if you're interested, you can sign up for Know Your Rights, virtual Know Your Rights training. Everyone should know their rights. We should know it for ourselves. We should know it for our neighbors. And then there's the hotline that you guys, I think I've talked about this before, you just put it in your phone. And if you see any sort of, if you know someone who needs help because of being detained or immigration enforcement being in the area, you call that number. They have a lot of resources, on their website too.
One
Do you want to ask?
Yeah,
me?
one thing is interesting about, the rights. In the beginning, we thinking it was used for the immigrants issues, and we now realize the important know your rights as a citizen, as a resident. So this know your rights extended, the knowledge is something we need to be other, and we always try to update,
Yeah, I think about, we've done the Know Your Rights sessions, in person for the Spanish language service. We should probably do it.
Yeah.
Or,
I was last week attending and they provide information that we know and also updated things that we need to know. Something.
yeah, because that's right,
There's
because
many
things have
things
changed.
changed.
The landscape keeps
Yeah, it's
changing.
evolving,
Yeah.
evolving.
devolving. That's a good word.
But yeah, and we also not only have cards, but we always have whistles up on the front table, and I have
Thank you.
more with me if anyone needs whistles.
Yep.
We are
And
ready.
as we've mentioned before, if you don't know, you can ask that there are efforts here in the church to help protect our 1 o'clock prisoner. And the last slide I have, and I know I keep I go to this every time because it is what stays with me always, our baptismal covenant, what we're called to do. Striving for justice and peace among all people and respecting the dignity of every human being. That's who we are. That's what we're about. And then I'm gonna end, and I think I'll have to turn over the Zoom, but with voting. I mentioned, I touched on that before. The Episcopal Church has had a campaign for a long time, and I have to go back to their website and see if it's still there. It's called Vote Faithfully. Vote.
It is still there.
It is still there. If you have a chance, take a look at it. We need to vote. Those of us who have, and this is where we're not all equal, in that some of us are citizens and have the right to vote. Not everyone has that. This is where we can use our voice. And if you can't do anything else, make sure you vote. There's a primary March 17th. You can vote by mail. That is a great way to vote. Request your ballots now. If you don't trust the post office, you can take it to a polling place. Is that what you were going to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need us to?
Yeah.
I can end it from,
Yeah.
the pulpit. but
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going
We're
to-
done.
Okay,
Five
yeah,
people.
that's fine.
Thank
Great,
you.
thank
I
you.
just wanted,
5 people.
didn't want to surprise you.
Thanks for the
Thank
heads
you.
up.
Thanks, Lynn. But anyway, yeah, or if you are gonna mail it, make sure you mail it well before, the election day. Vote early, consider taking your friends and vulnerable people to the polls.
Check to make sure everyone has a voting plan. Early voting starts early, probably next week in our county.
Oh, yeah.
There
You
was
wanna
a
talk
court
about that?
challenge that pushed back the start date. Sample ballots will be available soon. No one has any exact dates yet. Keep checking the DuPage website. They start off with a handful of spots, and then they do expanded early voting.